Hi.
Welcome to I'm Savannah.
I'm Zack.
And this is our lovely little real estate podcast. So what are we talking about today, Zack?
We're going to talk about why you should use a realtor.
So why we're important, essentially. And why you should
not?
hang out with us, literally, is kind of how this works. Also, to help you with transactions and sometimes the biggest purchase of your life, but it's okay. It's no big deal.
I'm just here to hang out and meet people.
Same. I do love my job a lot. It's really cool.
During COVID, it literally was the only interaction I got.
It's true. Masked up, 6 feet apart, everybody, just so we're aware. We were very safe. So why don't you start us off? Why should we be used when it comes to leasing, sales? If you're looking for a rental, a purchase, an investment, why on earth should you waste your time? Just kidding, you're not wasting your time with a realtor.
Well, I guess, I'm going to use an analogy.
Okay, I'm ready for it. I love analogies.
I think it's an analogy. English is
I'll correct you if it's
okay,
not.
Thank you. Do you do your own taxes?
No.
Do you... I don't know what another good one is. I can't use the whole teacher thing because you were a teacher. So it's not going to work there.
Well, it is. You don't teach yourself things that... It's hard for you to teach yourself things that you don't know about. I didn't learn how to educate by just knowing. I had to go and learn from someone else.
Do you... I don't know. Do you personally go in and I don't know, I'm stumped right now. I had a really good thing going there with the taxes.
That's okay.
No, but for real, so you don't do your own taxes, right? And you don't do your own taxes because there's tax code and there's numbers involved and
I also want to make sure I'm getting the most money I can out of what I'm
oh,
doing, right? Well, right?
You want money, right?
I do. I don't want to be
okay.
giving more money than I need to. I don't know what I'm doing.
So
either.
money, but value, right?
Yes.
Same thing. So I guess where I'm going with this whole
analogy,
thank you, is just that at the end of the day, you hire someone whose specific job is to do those things on a daily basis. I'm not an accountant, so I hire an accountant. I hire someone to, manage finances or something like that. Something along those lines that's a little bit more specific, and especially with a home purchase or in a rental, there's money involved and there's, a little bit more expertise and fluidity with neighborhoods and location and value and all the other little intricacies, home improvements and all this other stuff that the average person, rightfully so, just doesn't have time to allocate towards or know.
I think you have a good point bringing up time is most people purchasing work a full-time job, right? And you're busy, and on the weekends, do you really want to spend your time going through and educating yourself on the ins and outs of a real estate market? Maybe some people do, but it's a lot easier to go to someone like us who's professional and educated on it to be hey, can you please answer these questions for me, rather than having to Google search, finding all of the scary, it's like WebMD, right, where you're I have a sore back, and it's you are going to die.
That's the analogy I should have used. Dang it, doctor. Right?
Well, you're going to want to
let me go diagnose myself on WebMD. That's what you're basically doing with apartments.com.
Yes.
Welcome to your life.
Or Zillow, because we'll go into this, but Zestimates are some bullshit. They are not accurate. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. We'll talk about that on a later episode. But my point being, you want to go to someone who actually knows what they're doing. And the beautiful thing about Illinois is, Illinois, a realtor is...
Consultation is free.
It doesn't cost you anything out of pocket to use us when you're purchasing a home or getting a rental. We work on commission, so it doesn't cost you any money to use us, so it's a free service to you.
Yeah. So definitely on the whole when you're buying or renting, definitely want to make sure to use a realtor. It's added protection, padding your book in a sense, because you're getting paid through the seller or the landlord we are, but at the end of the day, like, you're getting use of our services and our knowledge, and we're representing you. There's a separate person on the other side of the table that's representing the landlord that we interact with, or the seller,
I feel like too, there's a big caveat with every realtor. Like, I'm not for everyone, and I'm okay with that, right? Like, if you're not going to get along with me, there's about 18 other realtors in my office that could definitely get along with you. Finding someone to match your personality and that you're comfortable with throughout that entire transaction, because it's really nerve-wracking and scary, is huge. And none of us take that personally, right? But I stress it's really nice to have that person that you can come to. And our job, we don't work 9 to 5. That's laughable. We normally work pretty much 5 to like 11 p.m. That you can text me at 8 p.m. saying, hey, I'm freaking out. We put an offer in and I'm just really nervous, and I can help be the therapist and calm you down. If that's what you want. Or if you want someone like Zach, who probably maybe would kind of play that card. Someone who's going to be like, you're going to be fine. Tough love. And that's not my style, but that's Zach's style. That's the beautiful thing about a realtor and working with a human being, is that you get that emotional piece to it, and it helps.
Yeah. I think it's just like, at the end of the day, you have to definitely, I think, number one, use a realtor. That's what this entire episode is going to be about. Just to reiterate that. But at the end of the day, like, you have choices out there. There's something like 10,000 plus like realtors just in the city, like, alone.
Yeah.
They're all doing different things. Some of them specialize in different types of sales and rentals and all that kind of good stuff. Some only represent landlords, some only represent sellers. Like, there's an entire pie there, right? But like, at the end of the day, just like put a little bit of thought into that choice, because at the end of the day, you're not necessarily like stuck with the person, but it makes everything easier for you and them. Mostly like for the benefit of you, like finding the right place for the right price, right timing, all that kind of stuff. If you're able to work with the right person in that.
Yes. And there are things about us that we have access to that you do not as a normal non-broker or realtor citizen. We have access to a whole database of homes, units, apartments, whatever you call them, that have been closed on, rented. We are able to do a lot more research on our end because we have access to these databases that we pay for. So you're making a more educated decision when you rent something. We can tell you, hey, this is way overpriced. I don't think you should spend. Like, we're very honest in our I would say, communications with our clients, and where we're telling people, hey,
I'm opinionated.
And we're opinionated, but like, we know what we're talking about, so we're not just saying that to make you feel bad or
professionally opinionated.
Yes. But we have access to all of these databases and systems that are going to make you feel more comfortable with making a decision on something, because we've actually done the research on it and can help you, which again goes back to, if you do your own research like you do on WebMD, it's scary and it's not always accurate.
It's like on like WebMD, like, do you get the statistics on like how well a treatment works or something like that, or like how like whatever, like a disease maybe or something like that, you know, like whatever.
Or you get those side effects. Oh, you're going to have diarrhea, rash, you may die.
I love that in all of the drug infomercials. That is my favorite part.
It is awful.
You could basically die from anything at any moment.
Exactly. It's like, why am I even going to take this pill if it's going to do all this stuff to me? At the end of the day, I think like really cool thing with using a realtor is like we have actual stats to back up that stuff, and we can provide those to you, whether it's like comparisons or other information that kind of help like bridge the gap for you that you don't necessarily get on Zillow. You're just kind of trusting Zillow or Redfin or like one of those other listing sites, apartments.com, to kind of guide you and like what a general price range is for that area or whatnot. Whereas like we can actually like back it up with like other data and supportive cast. Well, think about that too, all that research. Say you go in on your own and actually move forward with renting something or purchasing something, you don't have someone there to help you. Like, there's a lot of work on that back end that we do. The scheduling and coordinating of seeing a bunch of places. And then once you're under contract or you've sent an application out for something, I'm going to be honest, we do all the bitch work. We do, and that's what we get. That's what we get paid for. Like, we do the communicating with the seller, the lawyers, the brokers, the landlords, because that's what our job is, and it alleviates a lot of stress on our clients because we're doing it for you on top of communicating. So you just basically get updates as opposed to answer this question, what do you mean? I feel like we do a lot of that legwork, which I like doing because it helps. It makes my clients feel less stressed.
I can only like equate it to like the scheduling and like coordination. Imagine you've got a friend, right?
Another analogy, folks.
You got a friend, okay? You like hanging out with this friend. You want to go out to get dinner. And you're trying to figure out where you want to get dinner with this friend. And the first thing that you ask is, what kind of food do you want to have for dinner? And then you finally, 5 hours later and, 3 days later and whatever else, you finally get something scheduled because it was just dealing with your friend. Now imagine if you had to do that for 15 different properties.
With different friends?
Different friends, because you wanted to line up your entire week. That's what I do, but I do it for like a very short window of time so you can see as many places as
many
once.
Friends, as many friends.
But just like,
and go to as many restaurants as you like.
And I get all the appetizers and all the drinks. It's like I sit down and I order one of everything. I've always wanted to do that.
That was a better analogy than WebMD. I don't give you credit on that one.
Okay, but my like point is like you were talking about like scheduling coordination, like that's essentially like what a realtor does. And I know in like one sense it doesn't sound very complicated, and it's not, but is that again back to like the time issue, you have a full-time job.
Yeah.
Also, are you going to spend the whole day on chat and email and that just messaging people to do your one house and still be productive at your job? Because you're probably going to be fired before you get your rental at this point.
Well, do you also remember? Do you remember meeting Debbie at 123 State Street and that property was $500,000? Do you remember meeting Tom at 457 North Street? That property was $4,700. Do you remember meeting Abby at 785 West Street? Like, there's so many numbers, letters, streets that you're gonna have to remember. And like our job, literally our brains are wired to walk into a unit or a home and say, I remember everything about it, right? I remember us walking in, I remember you commenting on the foyer when you came in and your partner commenting on how nice the bathroom is. So when you come to me and say, oh, what was that property that the bathroom was really great? My brain is literally wired to go, oh, that was 123 State Street. It's listed for $530,000. Okay, thank you, Savannah. What are the tax on it? And I can pull that up immediately for you. So you're not sitting there trying to organize everything. It's a lot of work on one person. That's why we have the job that we do.
That's why,
that's why we exist.
That's why we exist. That's why we end up getting paid like at the end, because like that's like the service that we're providing, no different than like what you're working for and stuff like that. So
I feel like we're getting to a close here of essentially amping us up as to why we're worth it, because it's actually it's really not because we're that great, because we do love our jobs and we are good at our jobs, but it's truly to help you because it's really stressful, it's a lot of work, and it's confusing and it's very unorganized if you don't know what you're doing. So let us be a resource for you, and it's free. It doesn't cost you anything, just your time and your emotions.
So I'm gonna like kind of split like two hairs, because I know we had like two other topics like within there, and we have like a third one later as well. But like, I want to use like pricing and paperwork, because that kind of goes in with like the scheduling and like coordination stuff like that, because there's like a lot of paperwork here and there. Like there's disclosures, there's contracts and agreements and addendums, and I just see I spend a lot of time on DocuSign drawing little boxes all day, and sometimes that's fun. Other times it's not as fun. But like, I think like that just kind of goes into like that time piece, like you were mentioning like the research, like all that kind of stuff, but I want to like kind of tie that all in together into one thing. Like, pricing wise, we already kind of hit on, we have the statistics in that to like kind of give you a better idea on pricing, whether like for what you're looking for or what neighborhood you're looking in, whatever that is. So like use a realtor for that piece, use a realtor for like the paperwork and the coordination, the scheduling, like all that, because we're more familiar with the documents, we're more familiar with the other agents in the area. We can do the scheduling, the coordination to get you into the places that you want to see and whatnot. But then the one that I think like kind of gets overlooked in everything that I am more so like a really like big believer in my short time in the business is like your locality, like that being a sizable advantage for your broker, or your agent, whoever you end up using. I think it is important to use like a local person. One, I'm like all for like small business, like we both work for a small business, like a small team, like locally owned, husband, wife, like, so we have that perspective, but also just in general how it benefits not just like the neighborhood itself, but also you as the client is like you're using a local agent who spends all of their day, all of their time in that neighborhood, in that area, maybe in a subset of that neighborhood even. Like, for instance, like we talked about kind of last time, like they might be in Lakeview, but they might specialize in Southport Corridor or just Roscoe Village or just Lakeview East or just like Wrigley area. Like, pick a broker or an agent that's more familiar with that neighborhood that you want to live in, because they're going to know and have potentially the better options for you. And they're going to know about more different intricacies of that neighborhood that might help. Whether it's, hey, like, this is a more busy street, or this one's easier to park on, or, hey, there's like a fall festival here. And
well, you're dealing with brokers who live in the area, work in the area, and actually can give you tips and tricks on things to do, because we've literally gone through it. So why I can actually give you advice from a standpoint of I've done this before. And that's a good point. I mean, why would you pick someone to help you that doesn't know anything about the area you're looking to live in? I mean, I just had a client recently that I was helping with who's never lived in the city before, and she really took what I was saying to heart, because I have lived here for 10 years. I know the city, I know the public transportation, I know how parking works. So it's like having that knowledge goes a long way. I think the last thing what we should hit on before we close out is negotiating. When you're under, like if you're trying to do something on your own without a broker, your negotiating power is so much less when you're representing yourself as opposed to someone else doing it for you, because when you're looking on a seller side, the broker is looking out for your best interest. Whereas when you're doing it yourself, it can come off as more personal and emotional. We're doing it from a non-emotional standpoint of, hey, my client wants this because of these reasons. It's not because they're pissed off or they're super excited. Like it's a market value thing, it's a numbers thing, and we're telling you that because this is what they deserve or what they need in the transaction. Negotiating power is huge, and I feel like brokers have, and we are skilled in that. We literally know what we're doing when we negotiate with other people, and it's harder for you to do when you're doing it without us. It just is. Yeah,
I think at the end of the day, we're like part of our job as a realtor for any agent, broker, whatever, whether it's rental or home sale, is to take the emotion out of it, but also with it, like, use the client's emotion. So I'm not gonna I used to say this like constantly, that I would take the emotion out of like the negotiation, but I think more so what it is like our ability to transfer the emotion and turn it into objective, like, yes, feedback, criticism.
We'll be your punching bag
to get the point, yes, that we have to articulate to
the other side.
And at the end of the day, I mean, I tell a lot of clients this, like, I'll submit whatever you want me to submit, but I'm also going to be very honest with you and like what I think could or will maybe happen based on what I view the market and the individual situation is based on experience. And at the end of the day, like, it's you're the one that's making the purchase,
yeah,
or leasing the place. So we always go with what the client wants.
But we turn it from, I'm so pissed off because they're asking me to go up $5,000, what the hell, blah, 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 and we turn it into, hello.
This is best and final.
We have run comparables in the area, and we understand this is the best at market value. So turning it into an emotional to a non-emotional, data-driven response. Because if you go and tell a seller that, that's an easy way for them to go, nope, I don't want you to buy this house. Goodbye.
Yeah.
But I feel like in conclusion, reasons to use a realtor, right? We're a local expert. We can negotiate for you. We can do all the scheduling, coordinating, communicating for you. We have the databases and the networks to do the research for you too that you don't have access to. Those are the biggest points that we try to hit on when it comes to why you should use us. And also because we're pretty fun to hang out with.
I'm decently fun to hang out with.
Yeah, you're kind of like an 8. Actually, that's kind of high. You're more like a 7.
You know,
I'm just kidding.
For some reason, a 7 has a better ring to it than an 8 for me. I don't know if it's because I just view the number as better.
The scale is a plant, Savannah, and you fall probably about an 8. I'm kidding.
I'm still gonna stick with like a 7. Like in my view, the way I would like rank it, I know this makes no numerical sense, but I would literally go 6, 8, 7.
All right, well.
And then 9, 10. So I will take your 7.
We're fun to hang out with, and
this is why I'm great at negotiating, by the way. I literally just made 7 more than 8 people.
Everyone ignore him. I'm telling you that we're fun to hang out with. Zach will just sit here.
They literally just ignored half the episode right now. They literally... They went back and they individually on their iPhone or whatever have decided to re-splice the video out. I'm gone.
All right. Goodbye, Zach. All right, that's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in.
This was between two realtors.